I thought I was going to a simple family reunion, not a full-blown comparison show where I was the before and my cousin was the after. And by the end of the night, I was seconds away from saying something I knew I couldn't take back. I'm Marco. I'm 27, working a decent job in design, nothing flashy, but I pay my bills, help my parents when I can, and I'm trying. That's the best way to put it. I'm trying. Now my cousin, that's Camille, same age as me but somehow living a completely different life. Corporate job, promotions every year, travels abroad like it's a hobby. The kind of person relatives use as a motivational speech without even asking. Growing up it was always, why can't you be more like Camille? I thought we'd outgrown that. Apparently we didn't. Last Sunday was my grandmother's reunion lunch. I showed up already drained, traffic was awful, it was ridiculously hot, and I brought a dish I spent 2 hours making that nobody even touched. But fine, it's family. Show up, smile, survive. The moment I stepped inside, my Aunt Lisa locked onto me like a heat-seeking missile. "Oh, Marco, you're here. Camille just got promoted again." "No hello, no how are you, just Camille," I forced a smile. "That's great." And just like that it started. Every conversation somehow bent toward her. She's flying to Japan next month. Her company is covering everything. She might invest in property soon. It was like being in a room where I existed, but didn't matter. I tried to join in once. Just once. "Yeah, I've been working on improving my portfolio lately." My uncle Raoul cut me off mid-sentence. That's good, but Camille already has 3 income streams." 3 income streams. I nodded like that was normal, like I wasn't mentally calculating if I could afford iced coffee the next day. Everyone laughed. I laughed too. The polite kind, the survival kind, but it just kept building. We sat down for lunch. I barely took 2 bites when Aunt Lisa leaned in again. "You should really learn from Camille. She's very disciplined." Learn from her. Like I hadn't been hearing that my entire life. By then my chest felt tight. Not angry, just small. Then Camille spoke, soft voice, gentle smile, perfect timing. "I mean, we just made different life choices, I guess." And maybe she didn't mean it that way. Maybe she thought she was being kind, but the way everyone nodded, the way it settled over the table like a conclusion, it didn't feel kind. It felt final, like my life was the cautionary tale, different life choices. Something in me snapped, not loud, not explosive, just quiet. I put my fork down slowly. The clinking sound was louder than it should have been. The table kept moving, laughter, chatter, plates, but I was done shrinking myself to fit their expectations. For the first time that day, I felt steady. I looked up, right at Camille, and I said, calm and clear, "Well, since we're comparing lives." And that's when every single person at the table went completely silent. Forks hung midair. Conversations were cut clean in half. Even the electric fan in the corner suddenly felt too loud. Camille blinked at me, still smiling, but it faltered, just slightly. That was new, because Camille doesn't falter. She never has. And that's the part nobody at that table ever talks about. They see Camille now, the promotions, the travel, the polished confidence, but they weren't there for everything. Or maybe they were, they just chose what to remember, because growing up it wasn't always like this. Back when we were kids, Camille used to cry before every school presentation. I remember sitting next to her while she rehearsed, hands shaking, her voice barely coming out. I was the one telling her, "You've got this." When she failed her first major exam in high school, she didn't leave her room for 2 days. I was the one who brought her food. When her parents were fighting, loud enough for the whole house to hear, she would sit next to me on the stairs, pretending she wasn't scared. We were close, closer than anyone at that table probably realized. But somewhere along the way things shifted. She got better, stronger, sharper, and I stayed behind, or at least that's how they see it. What they don't see is that while Camille was climbing, I was holding things together in ways that don't come with promotions or applause. They don't see the nights I stayed up helping my dad manage his medical bills, the freelance work I took on just to keep things afloat at home, the opportunities I turned down because someone had to stay. But none of that shows up in a family reunion conversation, right? There's no award for keeping everything from falling apart. So yeah, different life choices. I let that phrase settle in my mind for a moment. Then I leaned back in my chair, finally meeting Camille's eyes. "You're right," I said, nodding slowly. "We did make different choices." You could feel the tension tighten around the table. My aunt shifted in her seat. My uncle suddenly became very interested in his plate. Camille didn't speak. She was waiting. And for the first time in years, so was everyone else. I took a breath, not shaky, not angry, just steady. "Because while you were building your career," I paused, and I swear you could have heard a pin drop. Everyone was watching now, listening. And Camille's expression, it changed, not defensive, not confident, something else, something uncertain. And that's when I realized she already knew where this was going. I leaned forward slightly, my voice calm but cutting through the silence. I was the one who stayed when things at home started falling apart. And the second those words left my mouth, Camille's smile disappeared completely. Just like that, the air changed. Not tense, heavy, like something long buried had finally been dragged into the light because they knew, or at least they remembered just enough to feel uncomfortable. I let the silence sit. For years I had swallowed it, every comparison, every "why can't you be more like Camille?" Every quiet dismissal of everything I had done that didn't come with a title or a salary bump. So yeah, I let them sit in it. Then I exhaled. "You all talk about life choices like it was that simple." My voice wasn't loud, it didn't need to be. Like I woke up one day and decided not to aim higher. I glanced around the table. One by one they avoided my eyes, except Camille. She was staring at me now, not confident, not composed, just still. "You remember when Lolo Ben got sick?" I asked. No one answered, but I saw it, the flicker of recognition. "That was the same time Tita Lisa kept coming over to our house." At that, my aunt froze. "And you remember what she said to me?" Now the silence wasn't just heavy, it was suffocating because she remembered. Camille remembered too. Her lips parted slightly, like she wanted to stop me, but I didn't stop. "Marco, please," I said, my voice softer now but sharper. "Can you stay? Camille has exams. She can't afford distractions right now." A chair creaked somewhere. I let out a small, humorless laugh. "So I stayed, just a fact. I stayed while my dad was in and out of the hospital and while having to take care of Lolo Ben. I stayed while the bills kept piling up. I stayed while everything at home was falling apart." I looked back at Camille. "You didn't even know half of it, did you?" Her eyes dropped. That was answer enough. "And Tita?" I shifted my gaze slowly to her mother, who now looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. "You promised me something that day." Her face went pale. "You said when everything settles we'll help you too." Then I nodded slightly. I waited, not angry, just honest. I waited for years. I leaned back in my chair, letting that sink in. But nothing came. No one moved. No one spoke. Because what do you even say to that? That you forgot? That it wasn't convenient anymore? That one child's future simply mattered more? I shrugged lightly. "So yeah, you're right." I looked at Camille again, but this time there was no bitterness left in my voice, just clarity. "We made different choices." Then I added, "Yours came with support." The words landed, hard. Camille's composure finally cracked. Not loudly, not dramatically, but enough. Her eyes glossed over, and for the first time that night she looked small. Just like I had felt all those years. The table fell completely silent. No more laughter. No more comparisons, just the truth. She got to succeed. I got to sacrifice. I stood up slowly, picking up my plate. "I'm not saying you don't deserve what you have," I said calmly. You worked hard, I know you did. I paused and looked around the table one last time. But don't ever use my life as the example of what not to be. No one stopped me. No one argued they couldn't, because for once there was nothing left to compare. And as I walked away from that table, leaving behind a room full of people who suddenly didn't know what to say, for the first time in years, I didn't feel behind anymore.